Welcome to the channel, guys. I am Drew Camden, and if you know me from the FPV drone world, I go by Le Drib, but we're not talking about drones today. What we're talking about, eFoiling, and I'm going to talk about my eFoil setup. What am I riding right now? And it is a Lift eFoil 4.2 board with a 150 V2 surf wing, 38 rear surf wing, and the standard 28-inch mast. And right off the bat, I'm just going to say, this setup is awesome. I can't imagine it being much better than this. So what's my perspective even worth? I am not necessarily an expert on eFoiling. It's not like I've tried everything and arrived at this setup as the best. I actually watched a bunch of YouTube videos from reviewers who are much better informed than I am. And that's how I arrived at this. So my perspective is, you watch a bunch of YouTubers telling you that this is the ultimate setup, and you get it. Are they right? And I got to say, I think yes. This setup is so good. I did get to try a couple of other boards before I got this. I tried, I think it was a 6 foot or maybe even longer. It was a big board that I first rode. And I picked it up pretty quick. I got up on my second try. So I learned first on the big board, but when it was coming time to figure out my setup, I was seeing that once you get a little bit better, everyone wants the smaller board. So I kind of went straight for it. I kind of went straight for the Pro Mac Daddy 4.2 board. So with just a little experience riding that bigger board and having watched a bunch of videos for months, I ended up on this setup. And I will say, my first time going out on this was very disheartening. It is no joke how hard it is to get up on the smaller board. And that's probably the biggest con, in a sense. But I don't even know if it is. Once you get used to it, it's not a problem. But my first time out, like I said, when I rode that bigger board, the first time ever, I got up second try. I went out on this board, thought I was going to do pretty well, and I spent well over half the battery just failing miserably. Couldn't get up at all, just kept falling. I was like, what is the problem? What is the deal with the setup? Did I make a mistake? Should I have gotten a bigger board? I was a little concerned that I had messed up, but it is what it is. I had the board. I was like, worst case scenario, I might have to try and sell it and get a different one, but we powered through, we persevered, and I started standing up, and by the end of that first session, I was able to get up pretty reliably, and by the end of the second session, boom, I was riding, I was able to ride basically the whole battery without falling. Felt great. So, big learning curve with the smaller board, but I think it's so worth it. Once you get up, this thing, it just wants to rock. It just carves, man. I mean, that's also a function of the surf wing is just super carvy. But God, I love it. I'll leave a link to one of the videos I watched where someone with access to basically every wing tried almost every possible combination, and you can make a call for yourself. There may be some value in going to a slightly smaller wing if you want to get really aggressive, or a slightly bigger one if you want more stability. But the 150 surf wing, really matched what I gathered from watching the review videos, is that it's as aggressive as you want it to be when you get into it, but it still is capable of being very stable and cruisy. I mean, the water I'm riding over right now is a little rough, and I'm hanging in there. But it's going to be a matter of personal preference. It's just the problem is these components are so expensive. It's not really easy to say, "Oh, I'll buy one and then buy another setup and make a decision for myself." Unless you're a dealer or something, it's going to be hard to get that first-hand experience. Why I have very little first-hand experience, so I can really only speak to what I have. And if you do end up with this setup, You're gonna love it. You're not gonna be upset with your 4.2 as long as you can learn to actually get standing up and get up on plane and get it in the air. Once you get over that learning curve, and it's a tricky learning curve, you cannot go wrong with this setup. It is so fun. I mean, I know they call the bigger boards like cruiser or sport, but this is plenty cruisy. You get locked in, and I'm just riding very relaxed right now. But then you have the ability to just kind of push yourself and go for more aggressive carving maneuvers. You know, like I said, I'm not a great rider, so I'm not saying anything I'm doing is super impressive, but I'm having a great time just doing super sharp, sharp for me at least, U-turns and circles and all that. When I ride the bigger boards, I don't feel like you can, just get as deep into the turn. Like, power into the turn. You're getting low, the board's going down, and so you have to power through. Oh, that's so fun. You hear some people say that the thing with eFoiling is it's super fun when you're learning, but then once you get to the point where you can ride confidently, it gets kind of boring. And I could see that maybe on a bigger board where you've got less room to push the board. But on a board like this, I just know I am barely scratching the surface of what the board is capable of. The board is way more capable than I am. And I love that. I love that I'm riding a board with such potential. And I don't know how good of a rider I'm ever going to push to be, or how much talent I really have for it. So I may never really be able to use the board to its full potential, but I'm having a blast with it. And isn't that the point? Oh, the turns feel so good. So in short, the best thing you can do is get some experience riding boards. But if you can't, you might need to go with a bigger board so that you don't just have such a horrible experience getting started. But if you are confident in your ability, if you have some experience with board sports, or if ideally you've gotten to try eFoiling, you're going to love the 4.2. You're going to love it. I cannot imagine a better setup. But who knows, maybe if I get to try more setups, opinions will change. Like with the small board, I think a big thing is you have so much more control over moving the board up and down with your legs. At least that's how I feel, and I love that. Like, I feel like I can really ride right at that breach point, and if it comes up and I lose lift, right there it is. Whoosh! I can just save it with my knees. I can just pump right into it and save it, no problem. And I don't really think I'd have the confidence on a bigger board to just pump out of a breach like that. So it's just more mass that you have to move with your legs. Also, I haven't even talked about just transporting the boards, right? The small board is so great for having to solo load it in and out, right? I mean, I carry it in my truck. I'll come out all by myself, and I'm able to carry this thing, even down tight docks that have fences on either side. Bigger the board, more of a pain it's going to be to maneuver it when you're carrying. Again, I don't know if that should be the deciding factor. You should buy for the ride, not the stride, the walk, or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. So that's just about all the thoughts I have. If you've ridden small and long boards and have any additional thoughts about what the differences are and what people might want to consider, definitely leave a comment. But in my opinion, just the small pro board with the surf wing, it just doesn't get better. So thanks for watching. Happy riding.